of the map awareness from Golden Guardians really seemed like they weren't tracking Cloud9 members for the majority of the game. So need to definitely work on that. Draft, I think it can be both things though, because I agree with you. I think they did go in with a little bit of a disadvantage, and we have some switches here.
Okay, so Cloud9 on the blue, Golden Guardians on the red. Ari, Sion, and Vi banned out by C9. Golden Guardians taking out the Maokai, the Nidalee, and the Cassante. The Maokai and Cassante both making an appearance in the previous game, not this time around. C9 with that first pick. Remember that Annie was banned in the previous game in that first half of the draft, but this time it's locked in first for C9.
Ooh, and MNS has looked quite good on champions that have lots of dashes and mobility. And he does have the speed up with the shield, but could be something that people could take advantage of.
I wouldn't be surprised to see it in support either, right? The flexibility and beauty of the champion. Immediate response with the Aphelios Nautilus. I wonder if they will consider putting that Nautilus in mid lane, or if they would prefer it to be down at the bot side to make sure that he does have something he can be proactive on in the early game.
I like your point about the potential flexibility of the Annie there, Vedius. In spring, M&S did not have any Annie plays, but Sven did play it twice. This time around,
what about now, guys?
Yeah.
All right, you weren't saying anything. You can't act like just because we're wrong, you're right. Because we do have Cybercon locked in. Yeah, I'm calling you out. Beep, beep, boop, boop, beep, beep, boop. Hello, Kobe, you're getting called out.
I started the conversation.
No, doesn't matter. Not accepting that. What I am accepting is Zaya Rakan. We got Zaya Rakan here for Berserker and Sven. We got Annie, maybe Annie's going top. Who knows? Maybe it's time for Clutch to deploy that. We got Lulu Aphelios on the other side. Nautilus being locked in. We're expecting that to be mid for Gory.
Kobe, have you ever seen Gory's Nautilus versus M&S's Annie mids?
No, this is going to be a first
My
time
expectations
for me,
with these two mid laners would not be this matchup, but bot lane's locked in, mid laner's locked in. Junglers now becomes a big priority. The beauty of Golden Guardian's position right now is that they can remove junglers and then first pick one. So they can really narrow down that pool and make sure that River can get something that he can have a lot of agency on in this game.
Well, the Wukong is banned away, even though it has received nerfs since its heyday at the very peak of spring. Remember that this is a champion that has been played plenty of times by both Blabber and River. Tied for second most played for Blabber there in spring, who did have a very wide champion pool. They want to keep that one away from him here. Poppy going to be banned out here by the side of Cloud9, so lots of jungle focus here in the second half of the bans.
Yeah, honestly, Poppy with the ultimate ejecting people for objectives has been so big here at MSI. Like that ban as well. And the jungle war will continue as we whittle down on the pool.
I mean, Viego is still up and available. We haven't really seen him have that much presence at the tournament so far, but when you look at how narrow the options are, wouldn't surprise me.
It's not going to be a Rengar ban. I'll tell you that.
Probably not.
I agree. I very much agree with that. Sejuani could be something that C9 consider banning away, but the Olaf actually going to be taken away. And the Sejuani, of course, does make a lot of sense, but we'll see what they lock in. The Rumble.
Oh, okay.
We saw the Rumble jungle, I believe it was from Gen G that brought it out against T1.
This one is definitely, this is super duper flexible right now. They could have all three positions still rotating. Meanwhile, it looks like Cloud9 are going to have to reveal anyways, so the flexibility of their Annie and Gragas will be lost after this next pick. I do like it though on the top side.
You know, this C9 draft, I know it's weird, very Mad Lions draft. The Gragas flexibility, the Zyrakan agency that you have in the early game, the safe scaling mid in the Annie. Now you're just looking for a jungler that can be very proactive on the map.
And with both of those solo laners looking to be AP, I would like to see an AD jungler, and there it is, the purple bug. Not my favorite one, but still a pretty good purple bug shows up. And so we'll get to see what Blabber can do on this. Blabber, a player that's not afraid to play these carry junglers, to be aggressive, to take over the game himself instead of just being a facilitator. So I'm excited to see him on that. And Golden Guardians, what is the last pick going to look like here? Where are these flex picks ultimately going to go? The Viego was mentioned earlier. It has already been played 3 times in spring by River, and it looks like they're going to lock it in again here in Game 2 against C9.
I actually think this is quite a nice Kha'Zix angle for Blabber too. Having the engage of the Annie plus the Rakan plus the Gragas on your team, you've got setup literally all over the map for an assassin jungler. This is exactly what you want. All these different lanes that you can go to try and get fed, to try and get that snowball going. And we'll track whether Blabber goes with the lethality build or he goes with the Conqueror tanky build like Argorin style, because either one would work pretty well in this game.
When I look at Golden Guardian's comp, I think that they have a lot of threat onto Berserker to force him to use his ultimate very early on in the fight. The problem that you mentioned with M&S having a tendency to prefer champions with mobility in the mid lane. You look at things like Rumble ultimate, Nautilus ultimate in particular. These are two ults that can just force you to either back away, disengage, or maybe even force something from your toolkit to be used very early on in a fight. The thing is, once those are gone, the follow-up from C9 is just so strong. Their ability to disengage with things like Rakan and the Gragas are so prevalent that, again, I don't think these fights are going to be the easiest for GG. It very much depends on if Stixxay can have the impact on this Aphelios.
And Licorice, I talked to him after in North America when he first picked the Rumble, and he said he was inspired by Shanji from LPL. So throw it down now. Let's see some massive Rumble top carry gameplay here. Try and get those Golden Guardians back on track.
Exactly. They look to punch back here in game number 2. It's not that same kind of split pushing requirement that we saw from their composition in game number 1. Rumble and Nautilus and Aphelios, Viego looking for those resets in the big fights. But they got to be careful because C9 outplayed them. They were more coordinated. They were ahead of Golden Guardians' moves in game number 1. So GG needs to make sure they're trying to read what C9's doing here.
This early game. We could see C9 looking for a bit of a delayed invade, if nothing else to get a bit of information as to where River is starting. Ward will be dropped by Fudge, and that will be pinged. So 5 gold goes to whoever pinged that, who I believe was River.
That's actually my favorite addition to the game.
Great mini game.
Just money for clicking the board.
I spammed that sucker before anyone else can get it.
It's just a great incentive. You know, originally, Riot was like, guys, they're not pinging out where the wards are. What if we gave them money every time they did it? Okay, now everyone's pinging the wards.
We just need a way now to pay players gold when they look at their mini-map. And we will have all of the good habits taught through proper incentives here in League of Legends. But with M&S on the Annie versus Gory on the Nautilus, Vedius, you said it in draft, this is probably not the matchup people were expecting to see between these two laners on these two teams. But hey, they both got plenty of playmaking potential here in this game too.
Yeah, and it is very meta for the international play that we have been seeing. So River going to start on top side. His Raptors are warded, but will be a regular red quadrant cleared down towards the bottom side for him. And similarly for Blabber on the Kazakhs, clearing down towards that bottom side of the map with the volatility of both mid lane and bottom lane. Ooh.
What? He's been having to flash back away now. The grand entrance, Stixxay flashing away from it himself. So a trade in those summoner spells between the C9 support and the Golden Guardians AD carry. Golden Guardians, though, has to have it fresh in their minds what happened early on in the previous game and make sure they're not putting themselves in a spot where they can be punished by a Cloud9 roam.
I really don't think he needed to flash that. I felt like that he was already in a good, like, the way that he was walking, he could have sidestepped to the left. I appreciate that he was worried about the Zai, but Zai level 1, without the pullback of the feathers, if it was level 2, I would understand, but perhaps feeling the pressure a little bit. Regardless, he does walk away with his life. Overall, they do have a health advantage in the 2 versus 2, and the Viego is pathing towards bot along with Blabber. The heal gets used there by Huhi.
Ooh, nice little bit of damage coming out. Finds Berserker, takes him down to 200 HP. Still has some potions, so should be able to regen most of that. Both junglers on their second buffs here on the bottom half of the Rift.
Yeah, very health positive trade there for Huhi. They get the heal, plus they use the movement speed for an extended trade, and they've got Cloud9 completely dry now under their own tower with both junglers headed to the bottom side of the map, so it makes it very easy for River to come mirror here, and Cloud9 won't be getting any reprieve soon, as junglers just match.
Alrighty.
On the mid laners as well. I thought that M&S would look for a bit of a roam because he did have that early push, decided against it. Jungler will be spotted out, River on that ward.
Whoa, hang on. Fudge getting dove. Licorice going in for the solo kill. The first blood for the Golden Guardians top laner. Yes, he will end up giving one back because of the turret, but the wave is crashed, so a little extra going Licorice's way.
That's the Licorice we've come to know and love. Another solo kill under his belt. Gets it done under the tower, and it's so worth it, even though he dies with the turret shot at the end. The minion wave at the tower. Fudge does teleport right back to the tower, but Licorice still up and returns to the bouncing wave.
You can see C9 wanting to set up here for the gank from Blabber. They knew that 6A had already flashed earlier, but Berserker is down to 100 HP. One more auto attack would take him out. Berserker has to retreat now, so Sven and Blabber need to do the same. Golden Guardians doing a very nice job here, fighting off the 2 versus 3 and winning the exchange.
Massive advantages here for the Golden Guardians bottom lane. They're drawing so much pressure, getting vision of Blabber, stopping his recall there, allowing what you see on your minimap. River taking the counter jungling into his own hands, pulls away the Gromp here. This is a very rare sight for North American fans to see Blabber down in CS. And it's because Golden Guardians bottom lane drawing so much pressure.
I mean, you look across the board, advantages being gained in top lane. Fudge lost a lot of farm off of getting solo killed underneath this tower. In the mid lane, relatively even, a back and forth as you would expect. But the bot lane advantage is being gained for 6A and Huhi, massive, especially without any jungle intervention. We talked about how we needed to see this bot lane in particular step up with their positioning mistakes from game 1. So far in the 2v2, they are looking flawless, and this is not how you want your Zyrakan lane to go.
Yeah, the bottom lane for sure for Golden Guardians. Massive step up, even full standing jump there. Licorice, meanwhile, under the tower, follows through with the flash, gets the kill. Beautiful stuff from him.
That is my favorite death animation in the game. Every time it happens, it's just so silly.
The observers agree.
It reminds me of, like,
Rumble.
you know, in some games when you die, you just go into like that weird floppy state. You
Yeah,
know,
the ragdoll.
The ragdoll, that's the word. Yeah.
Well, Rumble might have given us a good physics simulator there, but it was Fudge who was on the receiving end of that dive, and Licorice is loving this. Looking better already than the Fiora that we saw in game number 1. You can see on the left side of your screen here, it's Gory leading the way in terms of EXP and level overall, but all 4 of our solo laners do have the ultimates currently available. River and Blabber making their way towards it, but Blabber being behind in that farm, like you pointed out, Kobe, means that he's also behind River in terms of EXP, and River is now hit level 6 first. We'll see if Golden Guardians can get anything from that, as M&S finds Gory with the Tibbers here, just immediately dropping that on him, forcing the Nautilus to retreat.
Ooh, Alcove Gaming. Blabber has put himself in a pretty good position, but River is here to cover, and he is level 6. Will throw out the Shroud to make his presence known. And the base will come through from Blabber, so I don't expect any skirmishing to happen. Berserker and Sven just going to disengage.
Yep.
And both junglers just kind of making sure that both bot lanes are covered. This does give a window, though, for River to start off the Dragon if he wants to. They know that they have a big wave pushing in bot. Gory also able to gain access into the river. Means they have the numbers advantage, and there should be an easy objective secure for Golden Guardians.
And that's the advantage of having the level 6 on the jungler first. That harrowing path is truly harrowing when you see it, and you know that he has the Heartbreaker, and you don't have the ultimate to be able to fight back just yet. So Golden Guardians, they rotate the bottom lane duo up just to get this started, help River out a little bit, and then they know that he's going to be safe, so they walk back down into bottom. He takes a little bit of damage, but nothing too serious. And so the first Drake of the game, Infernal Drake, claims 17 minutes in for the Golden Guardians.
So much control on bottom side with Golden Guardians playing off their control ward through the river, and then even having the half roam down from Nautilus, he harassing them on the way out. This is such a massive, massive bottom difference here. Stopping the recalls, he being as annoying as possible, and this is during red-white guns for Stixxay.
So good.
He's just mining gold off these turrets.
They're so worried about the threat, and I will say, Red side's ability to attack bot lane has just been so prevalent throughout this entire tournament. And in game 1, we were talking so much about how, I think Stixxay's fine here, we were talking so much about how M&S gained that window to move into the bot river. Gory's been doing the exact same thing this time around. The second he's able to clear out a wave, he moves into Fog of War, and Berserker and Sven have to respect it. They are 20 CS down. They are 700 gold behind. Golden Guardians, just through laning, have built up, what is that, a nearly 2K gold lead? This is something that I think coming into this series I was definitely not expecting.
And it's so surprising to see that red side advantage around pressuring bottom like you're talking about, because historically, whenever there's been one big advantage for one side of the map, it's almost always been blue side, right? You look at win rates and things like that, and the blue advantage has been very real, very prevalent throughout the history of League of Legends. But with the current state of 80 carry meta and just how effective it is to get your guy rolling and set theirs behind, red side having that extra ability to dive and pressure early on can go a long way. The Golden Guardians also securing the first Rift Herald here, just not even a minute after it spawns. 2 for 2 on the early neutral objectives.
So I'd love to see River now path to his bot side camps, clear those out. We know that for Golden Guardians, that wave is going to start slow stacking, and on that big stack, I want to see them threaten the dive, use the Herald to at the very least secure the tower, and they can then set themselves up for the next Drake. They need to keep this momentum going with the Herald that they've gotten themselves.
And first step in that is trying to get those wards replenished.
Ooh, Blabber.
Blabber taking a chunk out of Huhi there. Remember the Lulu, no wild growth available just yet, still only level 5.
That's pretty big though. Kha'Zix's no ultimate now for Blabber, so he doesn't have that extra safety for the following skirmishing. Gory is on the way, Blast Cone ready. Takes it right back to mid lane after they see them back off.
I mean, Golden Guardians are accelerating the play a little bit. They don't have a massive stacked wave, but they do have 2. And they're saying, you know what, that's more than enough. They forced their way in a bit. Look at this, they brought Licorice down into mid-wave to make sure that that lane is still under control. And this gives them the window to drag Gory down as well. Stixxay secures the tower, now they go for the fight.
Gory jumps in, finds Sven. Remember the Berserker is still only level 5. There is no ultimate on the Xayah just yet. Berserker should be close to getting that level up, but Golden Guardians are taking the opportunity to push this even further forward. They're going to get the second charge on the Herald here into the tier 2 turret. Won't get a whole lot more just yet. Berserker is level 6. Moonlight Vigil from Stixxay tags him, gets him down to half HP. Golden Guardians, having lost the Herald now, will retreat, but they do 3/4 of the health bar on that tier 2.
And the only cost is 1 turret plate on topside to the Gragas,
Yep.
to Fudge, who gets up there with the extra minion wave. Now, all you have to do, rotate this Rumble, back up to the top side, collect the minion wave that he left there.
And now, Golden Guardians have the freedom to do what they like with the lane assignments. If they want to, they can bring their AD carry up towards the top side of the map. They can also keep them into the mid lane if they want to maintain that pressure, so they can then start to look to attack these side lanes, or maybe maintain control of a mid so they can contest the next dragon. But I don't think it's a bad idea from Golden Guardians to just sack the next Drake, give it over to Cloud9 and say, you know what, these plates in this early game are way more valuable. So instead, let's just make sure that while the Drake is being started by C9, we're funneling even more gold into Stixxay.
Because they're getting to the point where the gold threshold could start to become a very serious issue. 2,500 at this point in the game is already a very nice lead. But if you can add another 1,000 to that, another 1.5K, all of a sudden C9 no longer wants any fights in neutral territory. You're in total control of the map, and Golden Guardians can start some of that chaotic, snowbally team fighting that they can really build this lead even further with.
Now this plate won't be secured by Stixxay. He's a little paranoid because he doesn't have any assistance on the map, and that vision in the river will spot out C9 committing multiple members. And this is the thing, by C9 matching the lanes, this makes it very easy for Golden Guardians to set up for the next objective, but Gory in danger.
It'll be all right. The Tibbers is dropped, but he can just walk it off. Blabber and Fudge not close enough nearby to interfere with this and put any sort of real threat on the life of the Nautilus, who just walks right on back up. He is completely fearless with this, wasting as much time from M&S as he can. All right, doesn't look like we're going to get a whole lot more from that.
So the bot lane continues to be pushed in by Licorice. The wave clear is still very strong. This does give him some access to the river, but Golden Guardians doing what I think they should do, committing to the top side. Right now they're threatening a dive. They do ideally need Gory to be unlocked on the map a little bit more, threaten the 4 versus 2 in the top side, so they can secure even more plates for Stixxay.
Stixxay and Huhi pushed up to the turret now as Sven wants to go in here with a quickness. Beautiful wild growth from Huhi to deny Sven mid-dash. Make sure that he can't connect with the charm of the quickness or the knock-up with the grand entrance. That was perfectly timed.
Yeah, it gives him a little taunt afterwards with the trumpet and the spam for himself, denies the play. They also have matching junglers, so they chase Blabber right off. The Kha'Zix's a bit behind in this one still. Licorice lands the slow, lands the ult.
Licorice going in after Fudge yet again. Fudge for the longest time just running the show in the top lane in North America just as a region, but Licorice stepping up here in this game. That solo kill early on, now forcing him back from the wave here in bottom side. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of this guy.
And honestly, I've liked what I've seen Gory doing here with his Spectre's Cowl. He just keeps taking a little bit of damage from Annie, taking these combos to proc the regeneration, and just that plus his Corrupting Potion, soaking up so much of, you know, what MS could even throw. We haven't seen this Annie, you know, make a big, you know, flash stun play or anything just yet. And it's going to be another objective for Golden Guardians. They run the Rift based off the bottom lane laning prowess
This will make 3 for 3 on neutral objectives for the Guardians. Just a little over 60 seconds till the second Herald of the game spawns, and I would have to bet that they're going to be prioritizing that as well. They don't want to allow Cloud9 any tools to try to come back into the game after building this 2,500 gold lead. Gory's going to be sent up top to defend the tier 1 turret, try to stop C9 from taking this second plate here with 5 seconds to go. Berserker does secure the last little bit of damage that he needs.
I will say Golden Guardian is looking a little lost on the map right now, though. I feel like that they need to take advantage of the fact that Licorice can just push in bot and move. They can very easily create this numbers advantage as the engage from M&S, forcing the cleanse out from Stixxay. He's going to lose a lot of HP, a 3-level difference between the two. Along with the Proto Belt, we saw this tech coming out from Faker. It makes it so much easier to access, or like, even if you don't have your flash, you can still close that gap surprisingly quickly. But yeah, right now the game is dramatically slowed down, which is not the worst case scenario for Golden Guardians, but I do think that they could be using their lead more proactively by just getting Licorice more involved on the rest of the map because of that bot lane tower not being there.
And Stixxay clears out the wave, just keeping the pressure around in mid. Fudge will sit bottom, just constantly trying to take care of this tier 1 turret down here, but Licorice, once again, ready to answer, equalizes that wave out, clears it away.
And the reason he does that, even though we can see every champion on the minimap here, he knows his team is currently on Herald. They're getting it, so he was weak side.
Okay.
No Rumble ult for this.
Golden Guardians grouped up here in the river. They know that the teleport's coming in. Golden Guardians is going to reinforce, so C9 doesn't go in to collapse on them. They were still a little bit split up.
They know that M&S doesn't have ult. I thought that they would choose to fight that. Choosing not to, instead they'll just drop the Herald.
And you get the answer mid from Cloud9. They see this move, they have to give up this territory, so they push on mid. Berserker whacks away at that turret, but Golden Guardians with the Herald, it has to be answered. It's going to get its second charge off here. The secondary turret's really, really valuable, and Golden Guardians just keep up the push.
Golden Guardians escorting for the second Herald charge on a tier 2 turret this game. They get that one in. Another tier 2 turret barely hanging on to life here, but neither one of them claimed in top or bottom. Means that the gold is close, but still not yet in their pockets. Red turret destroyed. Meanwhile, in mid lane, thanks to Berserker shoving up while Golden Guardians was shoving up in the top side. And now Gory and Licorice are going to have to rotate over to handle that. The gold lead has stayed exactly the same for about the past 6 or 7 minutes of the game. Golden Guardians have not been able to build themselves further advantages over Cloud9.
But they do keep sacking their dragons and moving up a little bit more territory here, so still keeping up on that pace.
My concern for Golden Guardians is we have seen them in the mid game have this tendency to get picked apart. Even in the last game, when they started to fall behind, they were kind of repeatedly getting caught out of position. And so their objective setup is the most important thing that they have to be very cautious of. How they manage their waves, how they're setting up their wards, and ideally making sure that they are first on the objective, because the last thing you want to be doing is face checking the Annie. And like, you only really have Gory to face check with on this composition because of how squishy so many members of the Golden Guardians are.
And for Golden Guardians, they've been able to build very good early leads, like pre-8 minutes throughout spring in the LCS, but usually around the time that plates fall is where we start to see them really struggle to get ahead, to build more, or to translate what they've already built into something meaningful and usable. So that's one of the biggest areas for this team to shore up, and we'll see if they can make that happen here in mid. They try to use the Spectral Maw and Equalizer to take out Berserker, but they aren't going to get him instead. The counterattack from C9 looking for River gets them nothing but a death. Sven is already down, and they follow up on Berserker. Golden Guardians get 2 and punish Cloud9 for going back in.
Yeah, you don't want these hands, Cloud9. Golden Guardians have all 5 members there. You're not making a pick in front of the team. They blast him. 2 members immediately down. Berserker ults, and then they immediately follow it up as Cloud9 tried to lay down the Tibbers.
5-finger death punch there from Golden Guardians as C9 with an ambitious re-engage. Does open up.
You can say that.
Yeah, thought I'd be kind. The dragon spawns in 40 seconds, and with these waves pushed in, a quick reset will come out from Golden Guardians. Licorice ideally wants to get back. Knows he doesn't have the TP, which means that C9 have a window here where they could create a numbers advantage, but the problem is, with Blabber on the top side of the map and no ultimates available for C9, I think they're just going to likely concede this objective and look for a cross map.
That seems to be the play, but Huhi is coming to reinforce Licorice. They're also going to bring in a teleport here, and with the Lulu coming in to try to save him, they cannot secure the kill onto the Rumble. C9 have failed to get the kill they came for, as Gory's TP means the reinforcements are coming. River's already in the river, and Blabber's not going to be there for long. That man's going into the dirt, and Stixay's got the shovel. Golden Guardians come out on top again, and Cloud9 is falling to pieces.
Oh, where are you going, Cloud9? That is Golden Guardians territory. They've got the extra members rotating up first. So even though they get a couple of big chunks onto Licorice, force the flash, he gets chunked out by the Cosmics as well, they got to run for their lives. Golden Guardians chase them down. Now it's about the rotation back to the bottom side for this Dragon. Teleport used here to try and get this tower for sure, preemptively for Cloud9.
I'm pretty sure the logic there was, hey, I've just interrupted Licorice's base. He doesn't have TP. They're going to go to Dragon. Let's get a kill and a tower, right? They were not expecting Golden Guardians saying, we're sending 5 members top. We have to protect our top laner. And I think it caught Cloud9 completely unawares. While they will secure themselves a tower, this third Dragon of the game going to Golden Guardians, I feel like the Golden Guardians this game reading C9 very well.
And I think it's a very good, yeah, exactly, a very good call from Golden Guardians to send Huhi, say, hey, we don't have to give anything right now. We control this whole map. We should not be trading. As Gory walks by the death rush.
Uh-oh. Sven and M&S. Blabber coming in to reinforce with a 3-man play. Gory is surely dead here. Won't take a whole lot more time to kill him off. They just got to decide where they want the gold to go, and they want to put it on to Kha'Zix. So Blabber getting the second kill of the game here for Cloud9. Fudge will escape the counterplay in the top side, but it is sole point for Golden Guardians now. Cloud9 will be tasked with answering every Drake hereafter, but the gold gap has closed down to just 1,000.
And these are the picks that we were talking about. You know, I'll give Gory that one. To his credit, when you kind of look at the minimap, you'll notice that there is a lot of vision still invested on their side of the map, and it's reasonable for him to believe that, you know what, if they would have come into this brush, I would have spotted them out. Unfortunately for him, he wasn't able to, which means that C9 securing that pick back will at least get a little bit of gold into their back pocket, along with securing the top tower. Only a 1.5k is the gold difference, but still, you look at Stixay, you look at his itemization, this Aphelios continues to get stronger, and unless C9 can remove him from the fight, it's going to be an uphill battle for C9.
Yeah, I mean, the whole story so far for Golden Guardians has been one of bottom lane dominance, which is why they're on such an early timer for this Dragon Soul.
The Dragon Soul is still 3.5 minutes away, as Berserker loses half HP to the Equalizer. But we've got Stixay now potentially in some trouble. Has to flash over the wall to get away from Blabber, as C9 has invaded the topside jungle of the Golden Guardians and forced out a critical summoner spell from Stixay.
Yeah, almost instantly cursed there. He does flash to the other side of the Gragas ultimate. River actually poking around. And remember, Stixay's in base.
Stixay's in base, and there is no Rumble ulti. Gory's just walked up all alone. The Nautilus picked off for free, and this is the Golden Guardians struggling to hold on to their lead as Cloud9 starts to fight their way back.
They could just force the Baron here if they want to. They know they have the numbers advantage. 25 seconds left on Gory. Golden Guardians, that pick may have done more damage than you thought.
Yes.
M&S looking for a chance to try to jump the wall and get these guys. He has the flash available here on the Annie. Stixay coming in last. They want to go after the Aphelios. M&S drops the ulti, and Sven goes over the wall with a knock-up onto 2 as River tries to disengage with a Heartbreaker, and Berserker goes forward and the feathers fly. Golden Guardians are in full retreat as the Baron is down to 2,000 HP. Golden Guardians have thrown, and Cloud9's in the driver's seat.
It starts with a pick on the Aphelios in the red quadrant of their own jungle. Cloud9 blow a summoner spell, and they turn it into a Baron. Golden Guardian sticking around way too long, and Cloud9 back at it.
This mid-game positioning, this awareness, C9, just as we were saying, Golden Guardians have done a great job of reading C9. C9 know their domestic brothers extremely well. The way in which they set up that topside vision, just waiting for that single misstep, and the fact that they are able to balloon it into a pick, into a Baron. Great execution from C9, and now all of a sudden, this game is a lot closer.
At top jungle is a dangerous part of town, okay?
Oh, yeah.
You better walk in groups from now on.
Well, Golden Guardians are going to have to group up and stabilize after the past couple of minutes of gameplay here. They try to go after Fudge, who uses the ulti to disengage, flashes past them so he can use the body slam to further get some distance, but it's not far enough. Stixxay goes on a killing spree, and the Golden Guardians have 5v4 for the next 40 seconds. However, the Drake is still over a minute away from spawning.
Yeah, they are going to continue pushing the side lanes, though. They're buying time for Berserker. The Xayah, they want to funnel some extra money into him with the Baron buff. He's working away on the tower. Solo tower gold for the Xayah.
What was great from Fudge there was the fact that he could still clear out the wave. There was no way for Golden Guardians to trade that mid tier 2 for the bot tier 2. So C9 made the smart choice, they committed to securing that bot tower, and they continue to get gold into Berserker.
This is the problem with those kind of brute force plays where you're focusing all of your numbers into one lane, because even though you do get a pick off your opponents, especially with the Baron buff, they're pushing the other two side lanes, and so top and bottom pushed from Cloud9 there.
Oh, look at this collapse from Cloud9.
It's two teleports, both coming in. C9 trying to pinch Golden Guardians all into the same spot, who he's going to be targeted, but it's also a lot of damage down onto Stixxay. He's killed off first as Fudge takes it. They're going to find 2. They're going to find 3. It's a double kill over to the big man from top lane. Cloud9 just killed Golden Guardians before the Dragon Soul, before their very eyes.
A massive collapse from Cloud9 from every single angle, funnels Golden Guardians into the pit of death. They take 3 kills, they'll take the dragon, they'll take the tower. Cloud9 are taking everything from the Guardians.
Golden Guardians can do nothing but give at this point in the game. Cloud9, the pick in the jungle and the Aphelios flash into the Baron, into the collapse in mid lane. This is the coordination that sets them apart from the other teams in the LCS that Golden Guardians seemingly cannot match. Remember that in the LCS finals in game number 1, Golden Guardians had a 4,000 gold lead at one point, and it was thrown. Cloud9 showing them they still have not managed to slay those demons.
This is exactly why. We were talking to some of the Cloud9 members at Makeup this morning, and they were still so confident versus this team, even getting down 3 dragons. They don't care about the early dragons. They care about the team fight. Blabber tries to set it up here. He lands the slow onto Stixxay and Huhi. The teleport from the top side from Gragas. MNS from the left here finds the stun. Then he's got the Zhonyas as well to deny River, trying to execute him. They take down Stixxay, and we're back to live.
Right back into the fights. Gory chasing after Berserker. He uses the ulti to disengage. Xayah so good against Nautilus for that reason. And now C9 wants to turn it back around. River gets the wild growth to escape off to the side as they're still looking for more kills, and they get 2 immediately. Blabber's on a rampage, and C9's on a war path. Blabber wants more as who he's separated from his carries, and Licorice and Stixxay try to walk it off. Fudge trying to catch up to these guys. Probably doesn't have the distance, probably doesn't have an angle. Stixxay still getting further away, and C9 have a 5v3.
And even without Baron buff, they could just push down the extra outer turret up on top side while diving mid!
Oh, MNS just got a KO on Stixxay. He goes in 100-0, blows him up. There's the Annie gameplay we were looking for. Tier 3 turret down in mid lane.
MNS doesn't need a dash when he's got a flash, Flowers. The execution from MNS in the mid lane will be lethal. The walls of the base have been destroyed.
I mean, Stixxay had a flash too. Yeah, he tried to cleanse and then he's just dead. MNS blows him up. Wow, I was trying to set up. The Xayah again was getting another solo tower on top side.
Split push Xayah, as you do.
That funded his Bloodthirsters. So as strong of an early game for the Golden Guardians bot line, we kept talking about how there's a big difference in this game. Guess what? Xayah has 3 items now before the Aphelios.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, Mad Lions versus G2. Game 2 throw, 3-0. When we look at the game earlier today, BLG versus JDG. Game 2 throw, 3-0. Now, in game 2 of C9 versus Golden Guardians. Golden Guardians have executed a game 2 throw, and it's looking like it's all over, but the Nexus, C9, is on the road to winning this series very swiftly. And Golden Guardians have completely lost all momentum. I would say the wheels fell off the car, but the damn thing exploded.
I would have to say, too, one thing from Golden Guardians that made a lot of international fans fall in love with them this tournament was when they're behind like this, they still kept on forcing plays to try and look for ways to get back in. So for their hope. There's a lot of bounties on the Cloud9 members, and they need to start creating their own luck here. You can't wait for it to come to you.
Fudge has forced the top lane wave into the tier 3 turret. Remember, no inhibitors are down yet inside the base of the Golden Guardians. Baron is also up right now. Golden Guardians are trying to get some room back into their own jungle to try to fight, reclaim some of this territory. You can see M&S drop the Tibbers, but it missed. No target there, unfortunately, for C9, but it doesn't really matter. All he was doing was buying time. The Baron is taken, secured no contest, and now C9 are ready to push once more. They'll grab that wave in mid. They won't allow it to push up any further, and they're back into moving this game straight into the Golden Guardians base.
I honestly feel like this relationship is like a younger brother, older brother relationship, you know? Cloud9 realized, you know what? It's just the Golden Guardians. They slap him down. Stixxay, he cleanses. He tries to Gale Force to get out of range, but M&S finishes him off.
Oh I never realized
that is
how
terrifying.
big that Tibber's arms are.
Yeah.
Like that.
He's jacked,
Yeah,
man.
that is, wow.
Very kind face, very angry arms.
Yeah. That are on fire as well.
Pretty tough stuff. But C9 are pushing down mid lane right now. Golden Guardians are in the river. They're saying, hey guys, we got control over the river. We're going to take the Drake Soul. C9 are just marching down mid, forcing the Guardians to come answer them. And now Fudge leads the charge. Blabber's here on the flank. Fudge going over the wall, finds River. Sven with the knock-up, but it's buffered through. The Heartbreaker used by River there to disengage, get back to the safety of his team. Golden Guardians still grouped up. Stixxay is in the Wraith Pit. You've got to make sure you don't lose him.
Somehow Golden Guardians have gotten the wave pushed in mid. They'll secure the tier 2. Can they get out with their lives?
That is the question, because M&S is coming around and he's already found the enemy support, who he's down, and now they're going to follow up with more. Stixxay is dead, and Cloud9's looking to add more to the body count. Double kill to M&S, and Fudge picks up a double himself. Licorice is the last man standing, and Blabber's just going to annoy the hell out of him as C9 marches down mid. Licorice returns to try to fight the Kazakhs. He gets himself a shutdown, but at what cost? Now Sven knows his job is to just interfere with this rumble. Don't let him back. Gleaming Quill, just enough to keep him annoyed as the remaining players of Cloud9 march under the Nexus turrets. It's only a Lulu trying to defend, and that Lulu ain't gonna do a thing. Berserker goes forward, the Nexus goes low, and Cloud9 goes to match point. They'll take down the Golden Guardians back to back.
They brush him off like they were winning the whole time.
The early game looked so good for the Golden Guardians, but it was these positioning mistakes. Cloud9, they were just waiting for that window. And like you mentioned it earlier, Kobe, but we have to reiterate, getting the flash out of the Aphelios, forcing him back to base, Gory with an overstep into the kill, into the Baron, was all Cloud9 needed. They were just waiting for that one moment. And it felt like when you entered that mid game with the early game that Golden Guardians had, they just didn't keep the game accelerated. They just let it slow down. They kept, even with that lead that they had, as you mentioned, Flowers, the difference just felt neutral. Like that gold gap was not growing.
Yeah.
And that was the perfect position for Cloud9 to just lie in wait for their prey to walk into line of sight.
Yeah, nice dragons. It's not a soul yet, so they didn't care too much. And man, Golden Guardians dropping a lot more uncharacteristic things now. People become accustomed to seeing a lot better play, honestly, out of them.
Yep.
And I mean, for Golden Guardians, now you have to ask yourself that really tough question.